She just wanted to quietly buy a pair of well-fitting shoes, but what she feared most still happened. The insoles didn't notice Renee's embarrassment at all and loudly teased her shoe size being the same size as a man's. This left Renee so embarrassed she could barely embarrass herself. She hurriedly pulled out a pair of ill-fitting shoes and quickly escaped from the insoles. With nowhere to vent her emotions, she turned her anxiety about her body into motivation. At the gym, he was about to take off on the bike, but accidentally slipped and fell off the bike, instantly fainting. And at that moment, a miracle happened. When she woke up, she unexpectedly found herself undergoing a dramatic transformation. Her once sturdy limbs had become as slender as jade. Her originally unattractive face was now flawlessly beautiful. She could even feel her abs through her clothes, which surprised her greatly, though she didn't realize it at all. These are just hallucinations caused by brain damage. In fact, only she can see these changes. Later, Renee, mistakenly believing she had become beautiful, strode confidently onto the streets, as if the whole world was under her control. Just a few days ago, Renee was still feeling insecure about her ugly looks and figure. Every time she stood in front of the mirror before going out, washing up and getting ready, she would be moved by her own unattractive appearance. She became extremely upset, because with such a slim and plump figure, she never found the right size when buying clothes, and even when shopping at the supermarket, she would scare children to tears with her ugly appearance. Even when going to bars to have fun, she would always be pushed into a corner and left unattended. Fortunately, she had two understanding best friends who always gave her just the right comfort and tolerance. But even so, she couldn't change her insecure heart. To become more beautiful, she started studying online styling tutorials to learn how to dress herself. But after some practice, she ended up exhausting herself, looking like a ridiculous clown. Unwilling to give up, she signed up for a fitness class, hoping to achieve a perfect transformation through body training. But unexpectedly, because she pedaled to the bike, her pants were torn on the spot. In the end, she could only awkwardly clutch her pants and hurriedly escape from the gym. Although she was battered and battered by life every day, she would always pull herself up to work the next morning. Her job was in a 20-square-meter basement in Chinatown. She worked as an online customer service representative for a cosmetics company. Although the job wasn't particularly busy, it wore down her willpower day after day, and she had long grown tired of this dull life. She constantly longed to leave this place and hoped to enter the company headquarters to fully realize her ambitions. Finally, on this day, fate gave her a glimmer of hope. Due to a sudden server crash, she had to go to the company headquarters to deliver the sales report. This was originally a dream moment, but when the opportunity finally came, she backed down out of insecurity, saying she didn't shower today and wasn't suited to meet people. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Mason gave her the greatest encouragement, so she doesn't have to care about others' opinions. Ultimately, with Mason's firm and warm support, Renee sets out for the company headquarters. But when she actually stands downstairs at the company headquarters, looking up at the towering skyscraper, a sense of inferiority quietly surged in her heart. But to complete the task, she still forced herself to come to the company, and was instantly stunned by the scene of handsome men and beautiful women before her. It was as if Granny Lou had entered the Grandview Garden, full of curiosity about everything around her. Especially when she saw the passing female CEO Ellie, she was instantly captivated by her beauty and refinement. However, she still didn't forget her task and quickly handed the sales report to the front desk receptionist. By chance, she learned good news from the other party. They were just here for an internship. She was leaving soon, so the company was recently hiring a new receptionist, and working at headquarters had always been Rennie's dream. At that moment, a bold idea sprang into her mind. After returning home, she immediately opened the company's job posting, but when she saw the front desk requirements requiring a formal notice, she immediately stuck to it. At this point, she was still far from meeting the company's standards, but she decided to make one last struggle, hoping to change her appearance through makeup. She couldn't wait and went to the cosmetics store. He was preparing to buy cosmetics and dress up carefully, but unfortunately, he ran into a female model working out together at the gym here. Turned out that just a few days ago, the two had met once before. At that time, she was resting and putting on her shoes. A passing model greeted her warmly, which helped them get to know each other. However, before she could exchange a few pleasantries with the model, she was stunned by what happened next. The model, with her delicate face and stunning figure, easily won the grand prize of a stranger, while she herself was an overlooked mature saint. Before she could react, because her outfit resembled the clerk, customers mistakenly thought she was a clerk and had her tidy up the shelves. A series of barrages made her hate her husband's leaky appearance. She silently prayed in her heart every moment, hoping that one day she would suddenly become beautiful. And on a rainy night, she watched a fantasy movie alone at home, where the protagonist only needed to make a wish. The eerie atmosphere of the movie coincided perfectly with the thunder and lightning outside the window. Renee could no longer suppress the intense desire in her heart. So, despite the pouring rain outside, she went to the square, took out a coin, tossed it into the pool, and sincerely made a wish to become beautiful immediately. But when she eagerly opened her makeup mirror, when she saw that unchanged face in the mirror, she realized it was all just wishful thinking. To transform, she ultimately had to take real action, so she reappeared at the gym. To avoid an awkward situation like last time when she tore her pants, she specially reinforced the seat of her sports bike. But because she pedaled so fast, she accidentally missed a step. After a moment, her mind was restless. But because she had injured her head, she began to hallucinate, discovering that her reflection in the mirror had changed dramatically. At this moment, she not only possessed stunning beauty, she also has a sexy and charming figure, which made her extremely happy. She couldn't wait to appear in front of her best friends in the style of a vice jazz beauty. However, they all thought she must have broken her brain. To comfort her, she could only agree from the heart. This also gave Renee a mysterious confidence. From that moment on, the timid girl disappeared completely, replaced by an incredibly confident woman. She not only dares to greet other beautiful girls and confidently says that great beauties like us always dress well in street vendor clothes, but also naturally plays the whistle of the construction site guy. She saw it as a teasing, and whenever a man opened the door in front, she would mistakenly think he was trying to please her. That day, she came to the dry cleaner to deliver laundry. The man behind her only asked what number she was waiting for, but she mistook it for a conversation. She didn't even give the doctor a chance to explain, and thoughtfully said, "I understand when you see a beauty." She was timid, so she took the initiative to exchange phone numbers with him, but after waiting several days without receiving any invitations, she naively thought the doctor was feeling inferior because she thought she was too beautiful. Years of single experience had long taught her that love can't just sit and wait. Taking the initiative is the key to happiness. So she took the initiative to ask the doctor out for a date. The doctor was eager to see what she was up to, so the two quickly agreed to meet at a seaside amusement park. While shopping, Renee discovered a bikini contest being held at a bar. She decisively decided to get involved. Although the doctor felt that the heavily burdened Renee had nothing to do with the competition and kept urging her not to go on stage, Renee was still injected with adrenaline. Ignoring the doctor's objections, she rolled up her pants and tied a knot in her short-sleeved shirt, boldly appearing on stage. Unlike other contestants who deliberately showed off their sexy figures, she didn't deliberately imitate other contestants to show off sexy moves, but instead turned the competition into a personal celebration with a dance that blended exaggeration and confidence, completely igniting the atmosphere at the venue. Although she ultimately did not win the championship, there is no doubt she conquered the entire audience present. Even the doctors were infected by her unleashed confidence, thereby changing stereotypes about beauty. Unable to resist, he developed feelings for her. To get to know the strange woman better, the doctor took the initiative the next day to invite Renee out. After that, the two strolled freely down the streets, fully open up and talk about each other's families and romantic experiences. Renee confidently said, "Although I am a stunning beauty, I have only been in one relationship." Unfortunately, she was cheated on by a scumbag. Her honesty and confidence earned the doctor's admiration, and she was completely won over by Renee's confident beauty. Unable to resist, she moved closer and kissed her. From that moment on, the two officially confirmed their relationship. That night, the doctor went home with Renee, and before going to bed, the doctor, who was not confident in his figure, wanted to turn off the lights. But Renee, who is extremely confident in her figure, insists on turning on the lights. This move makes the doctor feel Renee's charm and completely win her heart. Nourished by love, Renee becomes even more confident. She decisively quit her online customer service job and boldly went to the headquarters of the cosmetics company she admired, confidently submitting her resume. However, when she came to pick up her interview results the next day, unexpectedly, the interviewer told her she hadn't been hired, and her words subtly hinted that Renee's image wasn't suitable for the job. But Renee wasn't discouraged. Instead, she confidently and generously agreed. "I was born for this job. I believe no one is more suitable for this job than I am. If given the opportunity to work, I will do my best to serve every guest." Her enthusiastic and confident demeanor impressed the female CEO Ellie nearby, who immediately accepted Renee's job offer. Renee cheered happily and vowed to make a difference in this position. On her first day at work, she stepped confidently through the company's doors. With a positive attitude, she quickly adapted to reception duties, completely different from the previously lifeless receptionist position. Renee is lively, humorous, and knows no boundaries. For every visiting customer, she always warmly brings out pre-prepared ice water, and carefully inserts a straw. This not only avoids the awkwardness of sticking lipstick, but also maintains a flawless, refined makeup look. This experience gives customers a sense of being at home. Actually, it's just one of Renee's specialties. For many years, she has studied cosmetics and gained deeper insights into the company's development and prospects. Soon, this specialty finally found its place to use by chance. While delivering water, she accidentally bumped into a low-end cosmetic product the company was preparing to launch, and when she picked it up, she was surprised to find that the product didn't come with a makeup brush. Although she was puzzled, she was only the receptionist and had no right to interfere. However, just as she was about to leave, Ellie suddenly called out to her. She was asked to share her perspective. Renee, who comes from a humble background, offered a unique perspective. The company's high-end luxury products do not come with makeup brushes because customers purchase them separately. A more well-matched high-end makeup brush, and what I just spilled is a product the company is preparing for the low-end market. These customers often value the convenience of product compatibility. Without a makeup brush, it would undoubtedly affect the user experience. Ellie immediately accepted Renee's suggestion and was amazed by Renee's ordinary appearance. She actually harbored such a delicate heart, and for a moment, she couldn't help but look at her with new respect. From then on, Ellie would visit Renee from time to time, not just to hear her insights on work. She wanted to learn from her courage and confidence. Although Ellie was the president of a listed company and possessed an enviable beauty, she also had a unique, childlike voice. She always felt extremely inferior and was afraid of being ridiculed until Renee's arrival made her deeply realize the confidence of a person. It's not about having a beautiful appearance, but inner strength and self-identity. On this day, to thank Renee for her constant help, Ellie specially invited her to join her with her male companion. At the dinner that day, Renee dressed up carefully and gracefully walked into the restaurant with Ethan, only to find that what she had expected was a company banquet actually for a gathering with Ellie and her grandmother. However, Renee didn't cut the room. Instead, she confidently sat down to chat with everyone. Midway through the meal, when Grandma Ellie took out a bottle of salad dressing from her backpack, Renee was pleasantly surprised to find that this was her favorite product, and she believed that selling salad dressing in small packages would make it more popular with customers because it was easier to carry. This idea was immediately highly praised by Grandma Ellie, who believed Renee was exactly the talent the company needed. She then invited her to Boston, but it would not be a complete success. At that time, she would be appointed manager of a new product. This sudden opportunity excited Renee immensely. The dual achievements of career and love made her feel as if she had touched the peak of her life. Unaware that a crisis is quietly approaching, she and Ellie fly to Boston with them, accompanied by Ellie's playful brother Grant. After getting off the plane, Renee hurried to the hotel to prepare her speech. Unexpectedly, Grant knocked on her door, saying he had carefully prepared dinner for her. He even unusually thought her hairstyle was cute. In fact, they had met once quite a while ago. When Grant came to work at the company, he happened to meet Renee, who was very enthusiastic about clients. Instantly captivated by her fiery charm, he unknowingly fell in love with this adorable girl. So at that moment, he didn't want to miss out again. But faced with Grant's hobby, Renee was both surprised and a bit lost. She had never imagined she could attract such an outstanding man, and for a moment, it was hard to resist. Just as she was about to meet Grant, while they were together, a sudden message from the doctor instantly brought her back to her senses, and she abruptly realized she had a boyfriend. She hurriedly found an excuse to go to the bathroom. She quickly took Grant away. Her panic drove her to the bathroom, opening her domain to wake herself up, but accidentally bumped into the bathroom glass. She faints immediately, and the magic fails at that moment. Half an hour later, when she wakes up in the misty bathroom, she finds she has missed the chance to meet Ellie. When she hurried to the hotel lobby where she had agreed with Ellie, she was surprised to find her former colleague Mason was also there. It turned out she had been transferred by headquarters to operate the affected equipment. She immediately recognized Renee, which shocked her. She recognized her beautiful self. Realizing something was wrong, Renee walked to the mirror in the hall and saw her reverted to her original form. Suddenly, she felt a surge of shock, and the confidence she had built on her fantasies collapsed with a crash. In her panic, she entrusted the speech to Mason, asking him to deliver it to Ellie on her behalf. Then she bought a plane ticket overnight, fled Boston in panic, and then went home alone, feeling lost. When she stood in front of the familiar mirror at home, she saw that the overweight girl who had always been anxious had returned. The huge contrast was hard for her to accept. She hid anxiously at home for a whole week, never daring to answer Ellie's calls. Not knowing what to do, she wanted to confide in her best friends. Unexpectedly, not only was he turned away by his best friends, but he also said he wanted to cut ties with her. Turned out that not long ago, one night, she brought her two best friends to a bar to meet up with guys. To promote her single girlfriends, she untimely praised the conservatively dressed best friends in front of everyone. The sizzling figure hidden under the jacket made her girlfriends feel extremely awkward. Then, she arrogantly guided them, saying their topics weren't popular with guys. The conversation should have focused on discussing each other's bodies, completely ignoring their feelings. Because of this, her best friends misunderstood and thought she was bullying her. And so, this friendship quietly ended. When their friendship was in crisis, her love also hit a red light. When Ethan initiated a video chat, she was afraid of being mocked and never dared to appear on camera. She could only curl up under the table. Xiao Sheng agreed to Ethan's invitation. Then, feeling uneasy, she arrived at the restaurant for the date and saw Ethan, who had been waiting for a long time. She was very worried that her ugly appearance would scare him, so she quietly found the farthest spot from Ethan and sent her a text saying she couldn't make it. However, when Ethan saw Renee sitting right in front, he thought she was playing a flirting game with him, so he pretended not to know him and walked up to talk to Renee, asking if she was alone. When she learned Renee was waiting for her boyfriend, she said, "I'm waiting for my girlfriend too." Renee took the opportunity to pinch her throat and ask what she thought of a girlfriend in her eyes. In Ethan's eyes, she was simply flawless. This was originally a heartfelt confession, but Renee felt that the perfect girl in her boyfriend's heart and her now ugly self refused to defend herself. Ashamed, she immediately fled the scene. Then, in pain, he called Ethan and resolutely broke up with her. This left Ethan confused and guilty, thinking it was her own tease that had hurt Renee. Completely unaware of Renee's true thoughts, after ending their relationship, Renee wandered alone through the bustling streets. At that moment, she seemed so small and helpless. When she accidentally walked to the tall building of the company headquarters, those dreams surged back in her heart. To become her former radiant self, she ran to the gym and rode a sports bike again. But after working hard for a long time, she belatedly realized that miracles can never be repeated. Just as she was about to leave the gym in disappointment, she accidentally saw a female model hiding in a corner, crying alone. When she learns that the other person was dumped and feels inferior and painful over failed relationships, Renee actually feels less anxious. Even a beautiful woman can break up a relationship, let alone someone like herself who looks like an ugly duckling. After some comfort and encouragement, the model's mood improved considerably. She casually chatted with her about her recent work plans and said she intended to apply for a new product model position at Ailey Company. But these words instantly made Renee panic because she knew better than anyone that the new product was aimed at ordinary wage earners, not perfect models. Instead, she was a spokesperson who could showcase the true value of the product. So, on the eve of the new product launch, Renee decided to set aside her personal emotions to help Ailey complete this important project. Then she enlists Mason for help, and together they quietly sneak backstage at the press conference, planning to make a stunning entrance. Meanwhile, Ailey nervously steps onto the stage under the spotlight. She struggles to overcome her fear of sound and begins to recount the company's development trajectory. Unexpectedly, the lights suddenly go dark, and Ailey is pushed backstage in a panic when the lights come back on. Renee unexpectedly appeared on stage, then asked Mason to release two photos, one showing me as a charismatic receptionist, and the other as an online customer service agent looking like an ugly duckling. Although the two photos differ greatly, it really is me. However, the audience below whispered among themselves, not understanding why the same person was being shown. Hearing the discussion, Renee turned to look at the screen, surprised to find that the two photos were not different. It was only at this moment that she finally realized that magic had never existed. Her appearance and figure had never changed at all. The only difference is the charm she radiates when she's confident, and her dim demeanor when she's insecure, making her mistakenly think they're two people. The confidence she thought she needed magic to gain has always been hidden in her own heart. At that moment, she completely broke free from the social gaze that beauty equaled confidence, and calmly combined new products with her own experiences, sincerely sharing them with the audience. Renee's story touched everyone's hearts and added extraordinary meaning to the event. In the end, amid everyone's cheers, the event concluded successfully. Ellie credits the success of the press conference entirely to Renee, but her grandmother meaningfully says, "If it weren't for your insightful stone pearl back then, Renee wouldn't have tonight's stage." At that moment, Ellie finally realized her own strengths. She completely reconciled with her imperfections. Thanks to the success of the launch event, Renee was appointed as the new product manager and successfully cleared up misunderstandings with her girlfriends, reconciling as before. Although life gradually became less proper, she could never forget Ethan. After a fierce inner struggle, she appeared at Ethan's door and sincerely apologized to him for what happened that day. But because she was so excited, she was at a loss for words. Meanwhile, Ethan, standing behind the door, saw her flustered and helpless expression, and found it very real and adorable. Then she quickly walked outside. Can't wait to meet the most beautiful girl in her heart. No explanation needed, because the one she loves is always the girl before her. The Super Beautiful Woman is directed by Abby Cohen. Amy Schumer and Michelle Williams star in the 2018 comedy film Fat Girl Renee, who accidentally bumps her head and hallucinates into a stunning beauty. From then on, her story of life begins to turn her life around. Unlike traditional tropes, Renee's appearance has never changed. What has changed is her inner confidence. This is not an absurd comedy. In fact, it contains profound life wisdom. When Renee realized her appearance was always consistent, she finally understood that what truly changes fate is not illusory beauty. Withdrawing in social situations, excessive concern for others' gazes. These are true reflections of our daily lives. The film cleverly reveals the truth. It's not that the world is biased against us, but rather against ourselves. When Renee thought she had become more beautiful, her confidence in expressing herself infected everyone around her and changed everyone's attitude toward her. The film breaks the superficial notions of looks and justice, presenting a highly subversive idea. Beauty is not about outward radiance, but about innate confidence in today's society. We are surrounded by a single aesthetic standard, which traps us in a bodily disorder. We constantly despise our imperfections, but true beauty is accepting our true selves. Just like those seemingly perfect characters in the film, the female CEO Ellie with Luo lying, or the model labeled as a pretty face, each has their own difficulties and struggles. Only when we stop living under others' gaze can we truly begin to be ourselves. Perhaps we were once confident children, but gradually lost ourselves as we grew up. But true confidence isn't about thinking you're perfect, but about accepting imperfection and still moving forward bravely. Alright, that's all for today's movie. Feel free to like, comment, and share. I am Shark. Looking forward to your next encounter.